Hi, my name's Johnny. Welcome to my podcast, Wasted Space. This is episode 1. I figured for the first episode that I would go ahead and just introduce myself because, I'm kind of nobody that's just trying to get something started here. This is kind of a new adventure for me, a new step out into the world of just sharing my story. And I called it Wasted Space because sometimes that's what it feels like I do. Not for any particular reason, not because I'm trying to be hard on myself, but there's a lot of people out there who have, I think, sometimes more to offer. But I wanted to have this available in case anyone needed someone to journey along with. If you found your way here, thank you so much. I am honored to be a part of your journey, whatever you're going through. If you found your way to my blog and have spent some time reading that over the last year and a half, thank you. It's kind of been a crazy adventure, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this brings. I have a huge passion for making sure no one feels alone in their struggles. I think that we underestimate how tough it is to get through things in life. And we will meet people who say, oh yeah, I've made it through depression, or I've made it through grief, or I made it through trauma. But how did they do it? And at sometimes you get so lost in the process that you just don't even remember what kind of steps it took for you to get through that pain, get through that trauma, get through that grief. So I tend to say everything. I tend to talk about everything. I tend to write about everything. And, 1 week it's I'm completely depressed, and another week it's I'm working through it. And this is a great week because that's the way it is. Sometimes there's ups and there's downs, and you've got to remember that when you feel like you're taking 2 steps back, you've actually taken so many more forward. So I definitely want to make sure nobody feels alone in their struggles, alone in their fears. Trust me, I've been trying to get this little bad guy off the ground for over a year now, and I just finally decided today that I'm going to sit down and do it, whether I feel like I have anything to say or not. Fears, my biggest fear of doing this is that I won't help anyone. But I have to remember that my goal is I just want to help one person. So if only one person hears this, I'm okay with that. I'm not looking to be a billionaire off a podcast named The Wasted Space. I just don't see that launching hugely, but you never know. I might find someone who needs help in that area. I don't want anyone to be alone in their pain. Trust me. My last year and a half of my life has kind of felt like a living nightmare. And there are times when I look back and think, how did I make it through that month? How did I make it through that day? I don't remember even functioning because I was just in so much pain, so much emotional pain. And that's sometimes the way life is. And I don't want anyone to be alone in that, because we all struggle in this life. We are all imperfect. We are all trying to find our way and do it in a way that's meaningful, where when we lay our head down at night, we feel good about ourselves. We feel like we finally accomplished something. I think we all want to succeed. So that's kind of what this is about. I think we're all just trying to find a little bit of joy, a little bit of peace for sure, and definitely to find love. And I am a huge believer in love. I believe in the power of love. I believe that it heals. I believe that it lifts people up. I believe that it can build bridges that just you thought were completely broken. I definitely, as a former pastor, one of my things that I stick to and have tattooed on my body is the Bible verse, 1 John 4:19. We loved because he first loved us. Love, I think, is so much bigger than anything that we could ever imagine. It's bigger than hate. It's bigger than anger. It's bigger than grief and trauma. Love is just, it has, I don't know, I guess magical powers, if you were to ask me. I believe in it. What started out as a kind of a little project for me with my blog has turned into an open journal, basically. It's an online journal of everything that I've gone through, an open journal of healing in the midst of unbelievable heartbreak. I have been surprised at how many people struggle with their own pain of that. For people who have struggled 2 years, 5 years, 10 years after a heart broken into millions of pieces, you don't feel like you'll ever recover from that. And I can tell you, I'm still not 100% there. I work on it every day. Every day I'm putting pieces back in. I'm finding pieces in a corner somewhere that I didn't realize I had, and I'm trying to glue it back to my heart and to fix that so that I'm less heartbroken, less grief-stricken, less in emotional pain, so that I can be more focused, more intentional, work and try harder to be better, a better person, a more loving and kind person, as opposed to someone with holding their broken heart in hate and anger. That's nobody I want to be. So I want to support people who are doing their best to heal in a healthy way. I want to support the person who is struggling in grief. I want to support the person who is either deciding to pursue divorce or who is getting divorced. Those are very huge, life-altering decisions that either happen to you or that you make, and they change everything. They change how people look at you. They change how you see yourself. They change how you think of yourself, whether you feel like you succeeded or you failed, or it's huge. And people need support, and people need help in those areas, and that's one of the things that I definitely want to do. I want to encourage the person who's holding on a little bit longer, who's trying. I mean, from my perspective, I was married for 15 years. We were in marriage counseling for 8 of those. I think I held on as long as I possibly could, and I'm okay with that. I think that that was fine. That was okay for my life and my situation and the circumstances that we were in, to just keep trying one more time, keep putting that effort in, because I was holding on to what I was hoping would happen. And even though it didn't, I can say for myself that I'm okay with that. And if someone, there's always voices, there's always opinions. The opinions will be, well, you needed to try a little bit harder, or you need to get out of that a little bit sooner. There's always those things. It's a very personal decision, and I want people to feel not alone in that. I definitely want to help the person who feels guilt with making those decisions. Just basically anyone that comes from a culture or a religion or a background that says, when you make that commitment stays. We all make mistakes. Sometimes they don't start out as mistakes. Sometimes they turn, and sometimes we struggle with, what did we get wrong? Where did it go wrong? And sometimes you just feel really left alone. And I want to help people through that. I want to give strength to someone who holds on because they're afraid of the unknown, because I've been there too. Are you ready to take that step? Are you ready to move forward? And if you hold on or put yourself in a situation, or your kids in a situation where the relationship is making things worse and you need to step out, then that fear and what happens there, I've been there. I want to help people. I want to partner with a person who suddenly finds themselves completely alone in this journey, abandoned by everyone around them. Been there. It sucks. There's a very, very small group of people, smallest circle I've ever had in my entire life. The biggest circle I had was in a time when I didn't really need them, I needed friends, and no one was there. They all left because I made choices that they didn't approve of, or they didn't want to pick sides. Every time people don't want to pick sides, they end up picking a side, and it's usually one that means that they're not your friend anymore. They don't pick you. And it's very lonely. Very, very lonely. So I definitely want to help people in that area. I want to celebrate the small victories with someone and sympathize with others as I share the pains that I've experienced. I definitely want to help the newly single individual not get run over in the incredibly intense and high pressure experience that we call a dating scene right now. It's crazy out there. There are no words to describe how crazy it is out there. Dating in 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019 has just been insane. And that's just been the last couple of years. There's a quote that I saw on social media. It said, since sex got easier to get, love got harder to find. And that is the truth. It just really is. You can find sex anywhere, but to find a real connection, to find authentic men and women and people, healthy men and women who aren't dragging all their baggage, all their hurt, and looking for the immediate satisfaction is difficult, really difficult. There's and then you're dealing with the superficial and the shallow and the cancel culture. There's just so much. Dating is awful, and that's part of what I want to help people with, help them find and work through and process different options, different ways of thinking, different approaches, because let me tell you, it is a shit show out there for sure. I definitely want to be able to help and console the person who gave too much of themselves away in that experience, because empty sex just leaves you empty, and you have to figure out how to fill it in the right way. And sometimes you need help. I definitely want to give hope to those who believe they can never love again. That this one's kind of tricky because I have loved again. It shattered my heart. So it's not that I don't believe in love or that I won't find it again. It's that I heal properly. Just unlike anything that you break, a broken bone, you want to make sure you set it right so it heals properly. And that's definitely one thing I want to help people with. So I want to help people who don't believe that they can love again, while gently pushing them towards doing some serious personal work on themselves and the true state of where their heart is and how they're feeling and what they're dealing with and the insecurities and everything that comes with a broken heart. I definitely want to encourage the tired and weary single parent, reminding him that the best parent is the one who shows authenticity over strict authority. I don't know if I'm doing this parenting thing right. I hope so. I think the kids and I have a good relationship, but if anything, they just, they see the real me for me and all of my flaws, which we'll just leave it at that. I definitely feel like my pastoral training has taken on a whole new area in life, and religion is a hot topic. One that I'm not afraid to jump into, but I need more research, and I like doing research with people. So I definitely will be hitting on those topics and hoping to, I don't know, as you reevaluate something again, if I'm not walking through that process with someone, being able to communicate, how am I ever really going to understand my journey? So that's really important to me, is writing it down, going, okay, this is where I started, this is where I'm going, and this is where I'm hoping to get to. And where I'm hoping to get to is somebody who is more loving, more kind, more authentic, more in touch and in truth with what I believe God is, who I believe God is, and how I want him to be in my life and in my family's life and in my friends and everything like that. So yeah, we'll see. I don't give all that. But I definitely, the other part that I'm looking forward to with these podcasts is hopefully sharing the different journeys, the different books. I'm a bookworm for sure, and I look forward to joining with some friends to do, I don't know, book club and share. There's just so much knowledge out there that can help us change. And I think that's what most people are afraid to do. They don't want to change because they like who they are. They like their attitude or their wit or their sarcasm, and they like their opinions, and they don't want to grow. They don't want to see other perspectives. They don't want to learn how to be better to their community around them. And I do. I want to understand how people tick. If you have grown up in trauma, how do I better learn to take care of a trauma survivor so that I don't, trigger you or anything like that? Like, that's important to me. I want to know that stuff. So I read about those things. I read about narcissism. I read about, social problems. I'm reading about post-traumatic stress issues. Like that for me is huge because I want to learn how to better love you. I want to learn how to better take care of you. I want to learn how to better understand you so that when my insecurities or my issues come up, I can decide whether or not this is a me thing or a you thing, because there's differences. Sometimes people don't click, and sometimes my assumptions or expectations of a relationship are based on what I think, and I have to go, oh, okay, hold on a second. You're seeing it in completely different colored glasses than I am. Mine are rose colored, yours are baby blue. And I want to be able to see what you're seeing so that I can better respond, better take care of, better love. So, yeah, that is my podcast in a nutshell. I guess it could be called Wasted Space because, this information isn't going to be for everybody. I'm hoping that, with the same way that my blog did, if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, it'd be great to know that I helped someone. Maybe not now, maybe in 10 years later. Something. That's what I'm looking for. So thank you for joining my first episode. Welcome to Wasted Space.